ومن أحسن قولا ممن دعا إلى الله وعمل صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى وصحبه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak to you all once again. I hope and I pray that all of you are having a wonderful Ramadan and are enjoying the blessings of this spiritual month. So we are back with our heart softeners, small reminders that might help us bring more spirituality into our life during this blessed month. So today, the reminder is going to be verses number 5 and 6 from Surah Al-Fatir. And Allah Ta'ala talks about a promise that He has made to all of us. So the verse goes like that. Allah Ta'ala says, O mankind, verily the promise of Allah is true. So don't let this present life deceive you, and don't let the chief deceiver, and who is this chief deceiver, dear viewers? It is Shaytan. And do not let the chief deceiver deceive you about Allah. Surely Shaytan is an enemy to you, so treat him as an enemy. He only invites his followers so they can become dwellers of the blazing fire. Dear viewers, all of you, as we know that, and this is something that we believe in, that during the month of Ramadan, Shaitan is locked up. But then again, we see other things happening. This is a question that always comes. Then what is going on? So first of all, let's understand what is the promise of Allah Ta'ala that He is mentioning not only to the Muslims but to the whole mankind. And Allah Ta'ala is addressing the entire mankind, Muslims, non-Muslims, believers, non-believers, and He's saying that verily the promise of Allah is true. So what promise is that Allah is referring to? The promise that righteous will have the good end. And the people who don't care about being moral, who don't care about being righteous, who don't care about being virtuous, and they follow their desires only and live a life of desires in this world, for them the end is different than those who care to be moral, who care to live a virtuous life. And this is the promise of Allah Ta'ala. And dear viewers, just think about that. Allah Ta'ala is so perfect. Look at the world around us. It is so organized, so perfect, so much in harmony. Just looking at this universe, looking at this world, and looking at the creation and the detail that goes in each and every creation, one can only understand and very easily a Rabb who is the creator of all of this. How can a Rabb like that, who is so precise, who is so detail oriented, who has so much balance, how can a Rabb like that be okay with the end of those who did good and the end of those who did not do good to be the same? And this is what Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran. The people who are good and the people who are not good, they're not the same. So the promise of Allah is true. And then Allah Ta'ala then tells us, so don't let this present life deceive you. So dear viewers, in this world, we have almost 3 to 4 major distractions. One of them is Shaytan for sure. The other one is also dunya. The distraction about this dunya is that whatever we do for this dunya, it is temporal. No matter how much hard work we put into the efforts to make our dunya good, it is still temporal. That's the problem with it. And then it is our nafs. Our nafs also deceives us sometimes when we are not, putting a check on that. And that is another enemy we have. So we have dunya, we have shaitan, we have our own nafs. So these are the major distractions that people, come across in this world. So Allah Ta'ala is saying us, so don't let this present life deceive you. Don't let the temporal life of this deceive you from something that is more permanent. And it is very logical, dear viewers. Just imagine that. I'm doing something so much for something, but that is temporal. And at the expense of that which is permanent. Right? Very logical over here. So then again, Allah Ta'ala further explains to us, and don't let the chief deceiver deceive you about Allah. So dear viewers, we all know the story of Adam alayhi salam and Hawa alayhi salam. And we know the role of Shaytan in all of that. But at the end of the story, we see something. That Shaytan, he makes dua to Allah, that, oh Allah, give me this respite, give me this chance that I will, deceive the son of Adam and till the day of judgment. And Allah Ta'ala gave him the permission to do that. And there is also hikmah of Allah Ta'ala in that, because dear viewers, we don't have time to go into details of that, but because if we don't know something bad, we never know what is good. If we don't know something that is painful, we don't know something that brings happiness and relief, right? So Shaitan said to Allah Ta'ala that I will deceive them, and I will come from the front, and I will come from the back, and I will come from the left, and I will come from the right, and you will not find many of them grateful. So one thing that we understand is that one of the distraction that Shaitan creates in our life is the distraction of being ungrateful. This is what he does. He makes us worry about the past. He makes us worry about the future. He distracts us from the ni'mas that are right in front of us. And in all of that, what he does, he takes the present away from us. We are either worrying about the past, or we are worrying about the future, or we are worrying about the things that we don't have, or we are worrying about looking at the glass half empty. And in doing all of that, what he does is that he distracts us from our hal, our present. And my dear viewers, present is the only thing that we have. Sometimes we say we don't have time. Well, the truth and the reality is that time is the only thing that we have. And the time that is right now. This is the time for me to do something. But for most of us, Shaitan distracts us. He makes us worry about the past. He makes us worry about the future. And what happens is the present that is right in front of me, that is here, that I can utilize and do something with, he takes that away and distracts me from that. So then Allah Ta'ala is telling us, surely Shaitan is an enemy to you. So treat him as an enemy. What is that supposed to mean? Treat him as an enemy is that be aware, understand that this is what Shaitan is doing. So go against that. Do not go with it. So Allah Ta'ala confirms to us that this is from the mercy and rahmah of Allah Ta'ala, that Allah Ta'ala gave him the permission to do so, what he asked Allah. But Allah Ta'ala also told us in a very clear words in the Quran that he is an open enemy. So treat him like one. So one last thing I think will be beneficial for all of us. So this question was asked to our ulama. How do we distinguish between Shaitan's instructions and the baser self of a man that incites evil? So how do I distinguish? Many people even ask that in Ramadan especially, that how do we know? Because now Shaitan is chained up, but still, these wrong things are happening. So how do we know in other than Ramadan? Is it my own self or is it Shaitan that I'm following? So the answer that was given by our ulama is that the baser self or the nafs that incites evil takes its counsel from Shaitan. So this is what happens. Dear viewers, if Shaitan distracts us, we allow him to do so. We allow him that he gives us his counsel, and we allow our nafs to accept that. So he tells us the answer was given was that the baser self that incites evil takes its counsel from Shaitan, and then the soul of the person instructs the person what the shaitan has given instructions about. So this is how it works. So I hope and I pray that this was useful, and we will see you again with the next reminder. Jazakumullah khairan kathira.
فإنهم غير ملومين قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون إلا على أزواجهم أو ما ملكت أيمانهم فإنهم غير ملومين